Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, and it is time. AFC and NFC Championship picks and predictions. Real quick programming note, there will be no mock draft this week. I was going to make one Monday, but as I was making it, I was like, man, nothing's changed here. Let's just give it another week, see how things change next week, because, I mean, things aren't really changed right now, so no mock draft this week, but I'll make it up with a couple of scouting reports that will be released this weekend, so stick around for that. At least one, okay? I'll try for two, but at least one 2019 NFL Draft Scouting Report. That series will begin. But for today, for this video, AFC NFC Championship game. So we're going to start with the NFC, move on to the AFC. Last week we were 2-2 in the divisional round, which was better, okay, because we went 1-3 in the first round, so 2-2 in the second round. I know some people are doing better than that. That's fine. I told you, I don't know what's going to happen in these playoffs. I thought we were going to have some wild cards make it, you know, some 3 or 4 seeds make it. No, we have the 1 seed versus the 2 seed in the AFC, and we have the 1 seed versus the 2 seed in the NFC. And I was hoping for some unpredictability, and there was chances, but at the end of the day, I mean, the division round was pretty boring. I was pretty disappointed with it, but I believe this weekend will deliver, and we will ultimately have a hell of a Super Bowl coming up, and I'm excited for it. So let's begin with the NFC, as the NFC Championship game will be taking place Sunday afternoon, followed by the AFC Championship game on Sunday night. So we begin with the Los Angeles Rams traveling to New Orleans, taking on the New Orleans Saints. And I had this in my pre-playoff bracket, not in my preseason bracket. I had it in my mid-season bracket, and I have it now in my pre-playoff bracket, and I have it, obviously, it's now the case in terms of the real bracket. So who will win this matchup? Now, along the way, I flipped and I flopped. Mid-season, I had the New Orleans Saints winning this matchup. You asked me during the playoffs, before the playoffs, I had the LA Rams winning this matchup. Who do I have now that the matchup is finally here in front of our faces? So first, the LA Rams. Last week against the Dallas Cowboys, they dominated. They dominated most of that game. They held the ball. They really did a good job of maintaining the ball, moving down the field. They had some problems scoring in the red zone, you know, instead of getting touchdowns, instead of field goals, but they put up 30 points at the end of the day, dominated that game, and won 30-22. As for the New Orleans Saints, they had their struggles against the Philadelphia Eagles last week, down 14-0 early. Could have easily have been 21-0 if the Eagles recover a fumble, or if Nick Foles doesn't throw an ill-advised interception. But they won the game, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Do you win the game? And the Saints win the game. And by the way, I didn't even mention this. How about if Alshon Jeffrey catches that ball at the end of the game? I thought the Eagles were going to go down the field and get the go-ahead touchdown. Now, the Saints would have still had time, most likely, to go down the field and go ahead again, but who knows, man? There was a lot of things that could have happened from that point forward. The Saints, even at home last week, disappointed me. Despite the raucous crowd, despite how intense everybody was, they came out of the gate a little rusty. Now, is that because of the bye week? It could be. And remember, they basically took Week 17 off. Teddy Bridgewater was out there throwing passes for the Saints, and they lost that Week 17 match because the Carolina Panthers. So perhaps now they've knocked the rust off. Perhaps now they're ready to go. Now, the LA Rams, okay, last week they played well. I thought they could have played better. I didn't think Jared Goff had the best game offensively, but their running game certainly did. As CJ Anderson, despite how fat he may be looking, this guy is looking good to me. He's running around. He and Todd Gurley both had over 100 rushing yards each in last week's matchup, and they're now facing a Saints team that has actually been decent against the run, was able to shut down Ezekiel Elliott last week, but this is a hell of a monster to face. And the last time these two teams faced, it was this season. It was in New Orleans, okay, so very appropriate to compare that matchup to this one, and the Saints won 45-35. But Aqib Talib, LA Rams cornerback Aqib Talib, was out for that game, and if you look at the statistics this season, the Rams defense with Aqib Talib versus without, there is a huge difference. They're giving up a pass rating of about 115 without Aqib Talib on the field, but with him, it's about 78 with Aqib Talib on the field. That is a huge difference to me, and it's because Marcus Peters, who we all presume to be the Rams' best corner this season, has struggled, while Aqib Talib has still been pretty good. And the Saints are in a position where Michael Thomas is their best receiver, and by the way, he's a great receiver, but he's really their only consistently dangerous receiver. Now, Ted Ginn will do some things, don't get me wrong, But outside of that, you have some guys that they're still relying on that you really don't have much faith in. Keith Kirkwood, Traquan Smith, Tommy Lee Lewis. I don't trust these guys to consistently move the ball down the field if the Rams can limit Michael Thomas, which is a tall task. I'm not saying they're going to do that easily, but I think they're going to do that enough. Whereas offensively, they have Todd Gurley healthy for this matchup. They have CJ Anderson, being able to do some things in terms of his offensive game now that he's on the LA Rams. My question is Jared Goff. Can Jared Goff truly beat Drew Brees on this big stage? Because again, Jared Goff did not play great last week. He had some really bad balls last week, overthrowing guys that were 5 yards away. He concerned me last week. But Sean McVay showed his coaching prowess last week. I think he does it again, and I think the LA Rams go to New Orleans, and they beat the New Orleans Saints despite losing to this very team earlier this season. I think with Aqib Talib now on that defense, they limit the Saints offensively, and we saw the Saints offensively last week were just not too impressive. And yes, the Eagles up front are much better than the Rams, but the Rams still have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh up front. That's a pretty good front. Let's not forget about Michael Brockers. Let's not forget about Corey Littleton that comes in and impacts the run game as well. LaMarcus Joyner gets involved as well. Give me the LA Rams to go to New Orleans and beat the New Orleans Saints. Jared Goff and Sean McVay with their first Super Bowl appearance. And with that said, we move on to the AFC Championship game as we had the New England Patriots. They're traveling to Kansas City, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Patriots, they upset me last week. I had the Chargers. Yes, I know. I had the Chargers going to New England, going to Foxborough and beating the Patriots. Shame on me, right? Shame on me for doing that. Although I believe the Chargers were road warriors, I really should have considered that, hey, even though they're great going on the road, man, it is tough going from LA to Baltimore, back to LA, back to Foxborough. It took them way too long to get going in that matchup, and the Patriots being at home for a couple of weeks, in fact almost a month, right? They had 2 home games to end the season, so they've been home for probably about a month. By the time that game rolled around, they steamrolled the Chargers. However, okay, can they now go to Kansas City and get it done? And that's a tall task, where Kansas City whooped the Indianapolis Colts last week 31-13, and the Chiefs settled for a field goal in that game. They weren't as potent offensively as I believe they could be this week. Now it's going to be colder, okay, which is going to make it harder to throw the football, but if anyone can throw the football in the cold, it's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Thomas Brady, at 41 years old, will he have that much success throwing in what could be potentially single-digit weather? Now, he had success last week, and it was a cold game in New England, so I'm not saying he's not going to have any success. But who's going to have more success throwing in the cold? A young, vibrant Patrick Mahomes arm, or a 41-year-old Tom Brady arm, which is still decent, which is still pretty good, but it ain't Patrick Mahomes' arm. Now, the Patriots have the advantage in the run game, where Sony Michel was an absolute beast last week, but Damian Williams, the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, whenever they run with this guy, which to me, by the way, is not enough, this guy's been impressive. This guy's picked up yardage. He's gotten touchdowns. He had 2 or 3 touchdowns last week, dragging defenders into the end zone. I believe in Damian Williams right now and what they're doing in Kansas City in terms of the run game. I say they need to run it more at times. And then you saw Sammy Watkins come back last week, and he just adds yet another fixture to this Kansas City Chiefs offense. You combine him with Tyreek Hill, who continues to get behind defenses every single week. Travis Kelce, who was unbeatable, whereas Gronkowski is looking more and more beautiful by each passing second, man. He's looking like retirement may catch up to him tomorrow. I know it's tough to pick against the New England Patriots, but on the road, they've struggled in the playoffs, and they struggled this season on the road, 3-5 on the road, losing 34-10 to my Tennessee Titans, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing to the Miami Dolphins, albeit on a trick play, losing to the Miami Dolphins, losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers in point-blank period. Each one of those teams are worse than the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. They have the defense good enough. I know it's not great, but they have Chris Jones rushing in the interior. Tom Brady struggles with interior pressure, and they have Dee Ford and Justin Houston coming off of the edge. The secondary needs to be better, but I think that's enough to limit Tom Brady enough in this single-digit weather. And Patrick Mahomes, who has always risen to the occasion, especially at home, except for against the Chargers, but I don't blame that on him. The Chiefs defense should have done something. I think he gets it done again. I think the Chiefs and Andy Reid defeat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and head to the Super Bowl. So as I told you pre-playoffs, I have it either being the Chiefs or the Chargers against the LA Rams. I'm sticking with that now. The Chargers are now out, so my pick is now simple. Give me the Chiefs to head to Super Bowl 53. So with that said, what are your picks and predictions? Comment down below. I want to know if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.